Hello, hello! How is everyone? How's our tribe? How's the community? How is everybody doing? We're trying to see if I can go. Can we go sideways?
I don't know.
Maybe we can.
Maybe we can.
Rotate your phone.
Oh no.
You can't turn your phone while recording. All right, sorry. Guess you can't do that. So we're gonna go this route. Somehow we're gonna have to figure this out.
Somehow.
Anyways, welcome back to another Facebook Live with the Heal Thy Heart community and the tribe. And just wanted to, again, touch base on some things that we keep, not that we keep, but we find was really part of our journey, that we find is part of other people's journey when they're either joining our retreats, and not even just our retreats, but seeking to do part of their healing journey or their spiritual journey or their self-growth or their self-love or self-transformation, however you want to call it. Whatever it is for you. And we're just going to keep touching on subjects that spark or create a catalyst for you to be more curious or to do more of your own work. And yeah, so today we're talking about some of the excuses that we all tend to use or rely on or fall back to in not doing our healing and our own inner healing, and what that means and how we can start to see through those things and see what the benefit is in doing those for ourselves.
Yes, there are so many excuses that we seem to have a laundry list of items as to why we don't get to it. You know, you can feel it, you can tell when something's a little bit off and you need to look a little bit deeper at something, and then they're like, oh, I don't have enough time. Oh, I don't have enough resources. Oh, I have too much to do for other people, right? Common excuses, right? Too much to do for other people. I love that one because that one justifies putting it on the back burner. Like, you're not just as important as those other people are. Makes it easier. I know, I was there.
Yeah, I definitely was a primetime culprit of wanting to always put others first. And that's we're raised to like, make sure you take care of other people, from cultural to religion. And that really is the prime example of what set us up to make sure we think that everyone has to go before us. That if we take time for ourselves, if we put ourselves in a place where we want to heal ourselves, we want to take care of ourselves, we want to love ourselves first, it's selfish and it's egotistical, and maybe you're not showing enough concern or discernment for other people. When you really start doing the work, you realize it's the most primary thing that you have to do, because how do you fill a cup from an empty cup?
Yeah, and women, we do this, right? Women are especially the culprits of, oh, I have to take care of the whole family. If you have kids, you have to take care of the kids first, and you have to take care of everybody else first. That's how we're raised as women. We are raised to take care of others. So I know I was very guilty of it for a long time, and I made all the excuses for not doing the work and not taking a look.
Yeah, for myself, it was a lot of just as a man in society is like being able to provide, being able to show up and be in my family, I guess, more as a man that really provided and had a name for himself and took care of himself. And when I was in relationships, I always put someone else first and showed up as a man in a relationship. And so for me, it was a lot of not really knowing how to show up for myself. And what it meant for me as a man in society was, I didn't have time to put myself first. It was like, buck up, man up, just get through it and do it and take care of everyone else. And if there's any bit left over for you, then, whatever's left over is like your scraps. But kind of ran its course for me and really ran me into a wall where I had to like make big change and start looking at, why is that our standard? Why do we do that? Why do we not prioritize ourselves?
Yeah, and I can speak from the parental viewpoint of when I was raising my kids, I was always like, there's not enough time, I can't do it, I have kids to raise, I didn't have enough money. I didn't see the worth of investing in myself. I thought that was something that I would get to later on in life. And now that I've actually gotten to it later on in life, I can see now that I'm picking up the pieces and I'm repairing things that if I had done the work before my kids were teenagers, I would have not been sitting here now backpedaling, trying to fix some of the things I did when they were teenagers. And so, the point of us coming on here tonight and talking about like why we make excuses and not do the work is because we've been there, we've made those excuses, and maybe someone that listens to this either tonight or recorded will realize that there's no better investment than yourself for everybody around you. There's no better thing that you could possibly do on a day-to-day basis than look out for yourself, because it's a ripple effect. And I know that it's cliche, and I know that we all hear that it's such a ripple effect. It's cliche because it's true. It's cliche because there's actual evidence that, when you take care of yourself, you take care of everyone around you so much better.
There are two really good analogies that I like to use now when I talk to other people that don't put themselves first, that put their family first, that put their parents first or their kids first. And it all sounds great, but just know that even the heart has to fill itself up with blood first before it can pump out blood to the rest of the body.
Very true.
So if the heart didn't have enough blood to pump to the rest of the body, then how would the body have any blood? Right? So you think about it that way. When your cup is overfilling with either love or self-care or health or positivity, it's only going to overflow into all the cups around you. And so if you're pouring from an empty cup or you're pouring from an empty vessel, what are you giving? You're giving old responses, old reactions from subconscious programming. You're giving old negative feedback, or you're giving positivity that's maybe overused and you're not really authentic about it. And the other thing is, like when we were talking about not having enough time, this analogy usually hits home, is that imagine, you're telling yourself, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time. Imagine if you were in your car and you're driving on the highway and your car is telling you it's out of fuel, like literally it's out of fuel to pull over and get gas, and you're just like, nope, sorry, don't got no time, got to get to where I'm going, no time to get fuel. Like that's really what's going on. So take some time. 5 minutes is some time, 2 minutes is some time, but sometimes better than no time. And allowing yourself to keep making excuses for you not taking care of yourself, that also spills over into the rest of your life. That spills over into your life with your kids, your family, your work, your friends, everything. If you're making excuses why you don't have time for even yourself, you're going to continue to possibly even, and I hate to say it this way, but maybe lie to yourself and lie to others of why there's no time, or why you're late, or why you don't show up, or why you're this, or why you're that. So, and I know for myself, that was me. I was the king of white lies. I thought I could always get away with white lies, and it really always caught up to me. And so now, even just like the smallest thing, if I tell someone like, oh, I'm leaving in 5 minutes, and I'm really not leaving for 15 minutes, my conscious is like, don't say that. You're already lying. You're going to spill more lies into the rest of your life. And part of that healing work was being more consciously aware of how I show up in my own life for myself.
Yeah, and the time construct is so funny, how when it's something you love and it's something that inspires you, time just flies by and time no longer matters. So it begs the question of, why is it that taking a good look at yourself is not something that you love and is not something that you prioritize? And I feel like some people step into that realm of saying, well, I don't know enough. It's not, it doesn't inspire you and it doesn't turn you on to do it because you don't even know where to begin, right? It doesn't even feel like something that is in your realm of understanding. How would I even begin to deconstruct the stories I've been told my whole life? Or how would I begin to delve into something that you're not quite sure where to go to, right? Like that old saying of like, ignorance is bliss. So you're not even quite sure exactly where to begin or how to begin because you don't know enough.
Yeah, I guess we don't know what we don't know, and there's so much that we don't know, right? It's something that just takes a little bit of effort to even just reach out to someone or anyone, or do a little research, or even just look through your friends list on some social media and just watch what they're posting. That's what it took for me, was like I really started seeing some of my friends that were posting things that was like, wow, these are the questions that I'm asking about. These are things that I'm wondering about. My friends are posting about it. So that was really cool for me. It helped because it helped me get past the cultural expectations. We come from a culture that, again, is so driven in this masculine world. It's just go, 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 go. Don't take time for yourself. You can do it when you retire. You can do it when the kids get older. You can do it when you get your 7-day vacation every year. And that's just, unfortunately, it's really not enough. And I found myself running myself into the ground. And when I started reaching out for more information, all of a sudden, like the doors opened and like it just spilled out. And then if you notice, how funny is this? Like if you just start speaking about it, your phone will pick it up and just start highlighting it for you. So I'm sure you'll get the message anyways.
Exactly. That's all you need to do. Take one step towards the universe and it takes 20 steps towards you. Take one step towards enlightenment and you get 20 coming at you of like all these beautiful things that you can do. I think one of the main things too is like being worried about whether or not your family is going to approve of whatever changes you're going to make. I remember when I decided to start doing a yoga training, I went home and I talked to my kids because it was going to take a lot of time and attention away from them. And I remember they were like, you know, they were preteens. They were like 13 or 14 roughly when I decided to do my first yoga training. And my kids were like, oh yeah, you can be gone every weekend all day long. Great, see you later, Mom. No problem. And my daughter was like, but we've got one thing we need to say to you. We don't want you coming home and bringing home all that weird hippie stuff, right? All that weird spiritual hippie stuff. We don't want you to start talking different, okay? Can you just like make that deal with us? And I was like, okay, like this is the only thing my immediate family isn't going to approve of. And thankfully my kids were honest and blunt with me about it. But I was like, I'm sure I started doing it anyways. Like, I'm sure now they could look back at that and laugh and be like, yeah, you came home with weird hippie stuff anyhow. But that's one of our things. Like, if we change who we are and who we've always been, how's our family going to feel? What's our family going to act like? What's our dynamic going to look like moving forward? It's kind of scary sometimes.
Yeah, something that I've noticed with being in a coaching space and mentoring people in their journey and life transformation is that some people just really are worried about, who am I if I make this change? If I decide to make this big shift towards the way I used to be, taking care of everyone else and start taking care of myself first, well then who am I in the world and who am I in their life? Am I as important anymore? Am I as important to my family or my friends? Or am I going to be as important in my job? And so we get worried what our self-perception from the world is going to be rather than just taking care of ourselves. Again, this is the cultural response to worry about comparison of what we'll look like instead of just taking care of ourselves. But it's like, once you get into it, you really realize, like, why haven't I been doing this sooner? Why have I been waiting so long to just step in and really put myself at the forefront of how I make sure I'm healthy, or the way my mind works, or how I eat my food, or the places that I hang out with. You start to realize or see things from a perspective that, wow, culture really set us up in a way to view things in a very obscure way that is not self-sufficient to be sustainable for a long term.
Yeah, it keeps us in a toxic cycle. And so when you begin to notice that pattern of toxicity that's going on in your life, it begs the question of, what is it actually costing you? Right? Like, you could say you don't have time, you could say you don't have money, you could say, you know, you're afraid of this or that, but stop for just a moment and just decide, what is it costing you to stay like this? I know for me, it finally boiled down to my health. I was starting to have problems with my stomach, intense problems that I was going to have to go to the doctor for. I was going to have to pay a lot of medical bills for, and for me, that was it. Like, that was the end of my making excuses, because to me, health is the number one asset that you have for free. And once it's gone, it's gone. So you get it for free and then you blow it, all right? If you blow it, that's it. Then you're gonna spend tons of money trying to get it back. And so taking a good look at, what is it costing you to stay like this? What is it costing you to keep ignoring the things that are bothering you and acting like you're gonna do it later and put it on the back burner?
Yeah, and I guess the healing journey too is like, I know we do like plant medicine retreats, and we also do some, as we're doing our first spiritual wellness retreat for the people that are curious about plant medicine, that want to start doing their healing work. You know, there's two ends of the spectrum and everything in between. You know, you have the very beginner and you have the far end where it's like plant medicine and tons of deep diving. And there's everything in between that's safe for you. And you know, what we've realized, and what I found from my mentoring coaching, what we catch with our participants at our retreats is, they're not sure what it's going to take to really step in. And so, like Jamie just said, you know, what would it cost you? But more or less, what would it hurt you to just initiate a little bit of change? Or what would it hurt you to stay the same instead of staying stuck or staying stagnant or staying in the same cycle of patterns that you feel maybe unhappy about? What would it actually cost you or hurt you to make a change, or to make an effort to step in and see what happens? But I like how Jamie framed it. You know, it's like, how will it hurt you to stay that way long term? How will it hurt the people around you? How will it hurt your family or your kids? How will it hurt your career if you stayed the same without deciding to make some change? And that's where we really are totally supportive in community of, like, how can we help others in the support of starting that journey or continuing it further.
Yeah, just opening the conversation. I know that there comes a point where you can't even imagine going on the way that you're going on. And just, I guess the reason that we're doing these talks and we're putting on these live events is like, we don't want people to get to the point where it's do or die, or they can't imagine it if they keep going this way. Like, start to take the baby steps now. Start to take the little tiny bits of improvement now. And, you know, that way it builds momentum. Slowly but surely, you're not making something drastic happen, but you're gently and smoothly incorporating new things into your life that make you feel good, instead of what some of us have done and gone completely drastically into it because there was no other answer.
Yeah.
So we talk about fear, we talk about time, we talk about excuses. Let's talk about the benefits, right? Let's talk about the cool stuff.
The fun part about
it. The cool stuff about improving who you are and improving your life. What do you think some of the good benefits are?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, oh, the first thing is our mind goes to is the negative. Oh, what about this? And what about that? It's always, our mind naturally goes to fear first. Fear, worry, regret, anxiety. But why can't we then see it through the lens of, well, what's the positive first?
Yes.
You know, it's, again, what would it cost us to stay this way? What would it hurt for me to stay in this way? But what would I actually get if I took the chance? You know, could I move out of being unstuck in a place in my life, or ruminating thoughts that I don't like to have when I wake up every day, or feelings, I think Jamie always says the word stagnation, feeling in a place of stagnation. Like I used to say, I don't like being in a swamp. I hate standing in a swamp. I have to be in flowing water,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And so healing for me in the next step of my life was just natural. I had to. It got me out of like this discomfort that I was having in my body and in my thoughts and in my feelings of myself. It really helped me be able to shift and give me the tools to shift those things.
Yeah, I think one of the awesome benefits that I realized once I'd been doing the work and I was starting to get like to the point where I was like, oh yeah, this is smooth, right? I was starting to break my normal habits, my normal reactions, and I started being proactive in my thoughts, and I started being proactive in how I dealt with people. And I remember like I had a couple of different instances that are poignant in my mind where I just stopped and I paused and I took a breath and I didn't react. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to react to this. I'm just going to wait a few seconds. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to sit here and breathe for a minute, right? It sounds so silly when I say it now, but I did. I remember being in my bedroom and being like, I'm just going to breathe. And in that few seconds where I breathed, literally, that's all I did, instead of reacting, because I was mad. I was hot. They had triggered me. I pushed my hot button and I was like, okay, I'm going to wait. Everything fixed itself. And it sounds so funny, but I didn't have to react. I didn't have to do it. I didn't have to fix anything. It just fixed itself just because I stopped and I paused and I breathed. So being proactive instead of being reactive was huge benefit for me. I had less to do and less to worry about because I just allowed myself to sit back and breathe, and then things just fell together how they were supposed to. And I know it sounds really simple, but believe me, it starts to happen more and more and more and more when you choose to let go of having to control everything and be the one for everything, and when you choose to embrace the fact that the universe is looking out for your highest best interest all the time.
Yeah, like the reacting thing, you know, it comes from subconscious programmed either beliefs or emotions that we have. And not saying programmed like it was forced for you to feel or think that way, but it's we all have programmed beliefs and emotions that we react from. And that comes from trauma of our past, whether it's inner child stuff, middle or teenage years, or early adulthood. And that's why we like to say reacting. You know, you split that word in two. You have the ability, instead of reacting in a subconscious old past behavioral pattern way, but you can stop and breathe and then react in a new way that's more positive for you to move forward in your life. And doing your work or doing your healing journey or starting your healing journey, starting to really take the time to love on yourself more, you have the times to be more patient, more compassionate, more empathetic in situations that normally would have triggered you and made you feel like you're on fire, or you can react in a new way. But for me, I think also one of the benefits was it gave me a lot of courage to chase my dreams or to follow paths that normally society would deem as not normal, or that my family was like, what are you doing? That's crazy. And it gave me a lot more courage to be more bold in my life choices and to the way I looked at what I wanted for myself. So I think courage was a huge thing for me, to become more fearless instead of more fearful. I liked finding that in myself.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Gosh.
Positive wise.
So many good things. It's so hard to put them all in one. I think the biggest thing too is the negative self-talk loop. We kind of wake up in the morning with that theme running in our mind. Sometimes there's like the to-do list right before you even gotten out of bed. There is this day, So noticing that and being aware of it and knowing that I actually can control that and change it. That was something that before I started healing myself and before I started walking this journey, I didn't really ever think about. I didn't pay attention to. I just automatically popped out of bed. The alarm went off, popped out of bed, got up, went to the bathroom, got my shower in, got my clothes on, got ready for the day. And the whole time, my mind and the negative thought is running in this loop like the hamster wheel. And I'm not even noticing it. And now I notice it before I even get out of bed. It's the first thing I notice is, all right, what's my mind already saying? What's the loop that's already going on? And then I immediately counteract it if it's running negative. I immediately start going into a simple little tool of appreciation and gratitude. I'm grateful for the bed I'm on. I'm grateful for the body I'm in. I'm grateful for the sun being out today. I'm grateful for the rain, whatever. I just immediately start counteracting all that negative self-talk with gratitude. It's so simple. And then I'm not running that stuff with me all day long as I'm trying to get the kids out the door and trying to make breakfast. And then, you're hearing that in your head as you're trying to get ready. And then you're like irritated and frustrated as you're trying to get everyone out the door. It's like, yeah. So having control over that's been nice.
And I think one of the other things for me was the courage embodied me to find a way to get to see my own unique gifts and talents in my life. And I wouldn't say for me it was remembering my unique gifts and talents, where a lot of people that come to our retreats like, oh yeah, I used to like this when I was a kid, or I used to do this, and I totally forgot that I used to love this. Or for me it was, I didn't even know I liked doing these type of things, and I got to a state of seeing myself with my own unique gifts and talents, and I got to see the magnificence of the things that I offer others, and then be able to have the courage to then follow up with that, chase that, seek that out, understand that more. So it's cool to see people really step into a place of self-development, self-improvement, self-inspired actions that make them step into a place where they never saw that they would be before. And doing your healing work gets a lot of the clutter out of the way. Like Jamie said, all that mental clutter, the talking, the comparing, all the self-limiting beliefs that we have, and allows you to start seeing yourself, even when you look in the mirror, like you see yourself with new light, new aura, new belief, new love. And when you see yourself that way, you want the best for yourself, just like you would want the best in others. And yeah, I'm sure we can continue to talk about all the things that are so good about it, and also some of the things that can be fearful about it. But it's a journey that once you start it, you're like, why did I take so long? But don't get in the pattern of going, oh, I've waited too long. Well, it's never too late. It's never too late until it's really too late. And so don't get to being too late.
Yeah, don't wait till you're standing in the fork of the road and your health is compromised and your family can't stand being around you because you're a tyrant. And don't wait that long. Start before then. Start when you start to realize how unhappy you actually are, or the discomfort in the body. Our bodies have a magnificent way of letting us know when we're not taking care of ourselves. And if you can simply just see that on a daily basis and want to change that, that's enough to start taking the steps.
Yeah, so thanks again for joining us on another Facebook Live. We're going to continue to do these once a week for now. We're enjoying it. We want to keep bringing more content, more inspired thoughts, and empowering more inspired actions for people to start whatever that is in your journey, whether it's you're 5 years in, 10 years in, whether it's your first day, your first minute. We want to be here to show up for people, and we're super honored to be able to be in the space that we're at, for how far we've come to be able to offer such spaces for others. Because when we started, we didn't really have this type of space. And maybe we didn't have the space because we didn't look for it. So
Yeah.
we're really trying to be more open with sharing it, putting it out there. And if you feel called, you want to direct message one of us, you want to join in on the community or just see who's there to support you, that's exactly what this group is for.
Yes. Reach out, because we all need a little collaboration, right? Group collaboration gets you so much better momentum and support and love, and you know, that's what we're here for. That's what we're trying to build.
So from Healed by Heart, from Michael and Jamie, from our whole entire community and tribe of people that are supporting us and being a part of this and continuing doing your work, super grateful, super thankful we get to be on this journey with you. And we look forward to seeing you in another Facebook Live next week. Somehow we'll fix this camera thing, maybe. We'll figure it out one of these days. But anyways, we're squeezed in here nice and tight. You saw us, you heard us. Thank you for everyone that tuned in. And again, if we can be a resource, just reach out. Love y'all. Take care.